Femke Bol had never run the 800 meters before this race. No practice race, no build-up, just a single debut on a big stage, and she still ran under 2 minutes like she had done it her whole life. Now the big question is simple. Was this just a strong first attempt, or did we just see the start of something much bigger? On February 8, 2026, in Metz, France, at a World Athletics Indoor Tour meet, Bol stepped into a race that most athletes respect and fear at the same time. The 800 meters is not forgiving. It sits right between sprinting and endurance, which means you need both, and you cannot fake either. Many fast 400-meter runners have tried moving up. Most fail because they either go out too hard or fade badly in the final stretch. That context matters because Bol was not easing into this distance. She went straight into a professional field, under pressure, with no prior race experience at 800 meters. The race began with a controlled start. Bol did not rush to the front in panic. She stayed composed and smooth through the opening 200 meters. Then came the first real signal. She passed 400 meters in 57 seconds. That is a serious pace. Not reckless, but strong enough to put pressure on the field. This is where inexperienced runners usually make mistakes. They burn too much energy early and collapse later. But Bol looked relaxed. Her form stayed clean. Her breathing stayed steady. That is unusual for a debut at this distance, and it hinted that something bigger might be happening. By the time she reached 600 meters, the race moved into its most critical phase. This is where the 800 meters becomes brutal. The legs start to tighten, and the body begins to resist. Her split at 600 meters was 1 minute, 28.86 seconds, and she was still in control. There was no visible panic, no sudden drop in rhythm. She held her stride and kept her pace. This is important because the last 200 meters of an 800-meter race often expose even experienced athletes. It is where races are lost more than they are won. In the final lap, Bol did not break. She did not fight the race. She continued to run it. That difference is key. Many runners at this stage are just trying to survive, but she still looked composed. When she crossed the finish line, the clock showed 1 minute, 59.07 seconds. That is under 2 minutes in her very first professional 800-meter race. It was not only a win, it was a Dutch national indoor record. Behind her, Valentina Rosamilia finished in 1 minute, 59.90 seconds, and Laura Hoffman finished in 1 minute, 59.91 seconds. Both strong times, but clearly behind. Bol did not just edge the field, she controlled it. After the race, her reaction was simple. She smiled and said, "It was nice, a bit long, but I'll get used to it." That response reveals a lot. There was no shock in her voice, no sense that she had overachieved. Instead, it sounded like a starting point. And that should make people pay attention. Because if this was just a starting point, then the ceiling is still unknown. There is another detail that makes this performance even more interesting. She slightly eased during the third lap. That means this was not an all-out effort from start to finish. She had more in reserve. For a debut race, that is rare. Most athletes are pushed to their limit when they try a new distance at this level. Bol was not. That suggests her current ability might already be higher than the time she ran. Naturally, comparisons have started. The name that comes up is Jarmila Kratochvilova, the last indoor 400-meter world record holder who successfully moved into the 800 meters at a high level. She ran 1 minute, 56 seconds in her first year and later set a world record. But this comparison needs caution. The era was different, the conditions were different, and the sport itself has changed. It is not a direct path that can simply be repeated. Still, the comparison exists because Femke Bol's debut was strong enough to invite it. So what does this performance actually tell us? First, her aerobic capacity is much better than many assumed. She has always been known for her speed and control in the 400 meters and hurdles, but running under 2 minutes in the 800 meters requires real endurance. Second, her pacing instincts are already advanced. She did not go out too fast and she did not hesitate. She found a balance that many experienced runners struggle to achieve. Third, her composure under pressure stands out. Even without experience at this distance, she did not panic when the race entered its hardest phase. There is also a small detail that adds value here. Her stride pattern stayed consistent deep into the race. Many first-time runners shorten their stride when fatigue hits. She did not. That shows efficiency. It means she is not wasting energy even when the body is under stress. That kind of efficiency is hard to teach, and it usually separates good runners from great ones. But one race does not make her an 800-meter specialist. The reality is more complex. The 800 meters is not just about running fast in a clean race, it is about handling chaos. In major competitions, races are crowded. Athletes push for position. The pace can change suddenly. You cannot simply run your own rhythm. You must react, adjust, and sometimes fight for space. That level of tactical awareness takes time to build. And here is the key unknown. We have not yet seen her under pressure in this event. What happens if she gets boxed in at 500 meters? What happens if someone surges past her at the bell? Does she respond immediately, or does she hesitate? These moments decide races at the highest level. Until she faces them, the full picture is not complete. This is where the real question begins. Can she develop those tactical skills at the same level as her physical ability? Because right now, she is already dominant in the 400-meter hurdles. She controls races there. She sets the tone and executes her plan. Moving to the 800 meters would put her in a different role, at least in the beginning. Instead of controlling, she would need to respond. That is not easy, even for elite athletes. Looking ahead, her potential in the 800 meters is clear. In the short term, a time in the 1 minute, 58-second range is realistic. With more races and more comfort, that could come quickly. In the midterm, 1 minute, 57 seconds becomes possible if she commits to the event and adjusts her training. At the highest level, a time in the 1 minute, 56-second range would place her among the best in the world. But reaching that level requires more than physical talent. It requires years of focused work, race experience, and tactical growth. There is also a strategic side to this decision. Every step Femke Bol takes toward the 800 meters could affect her performance in the 400-meter hurdles. Training for endurance can reduce some of the raw speed that makes her so dominant in her main event. Balancing both at the highest level is difficult. This creates a real choice. She can stay where she is and continue to dominate, or she can explore a new challenge with higher risk and, potentially, higher reward. That choice is not just about races, it is about identity. Is she a specialist, or is she building towards something broader? That is why this race matters. It was not just about the time, it was about what it represents. It showed that she has the physical tools to compete in a new event. It hinted at untapped potential, but it also raised questions that only future races can answer. What happens when she is not leading? What happens when the pace becomes unpredictable? What happens when she has to fight for position in a tight pack? Those are the moments that define true 800-meter runners. And right now, those moments are still unknown for her.